Hello and welcome to the quarterback decision making online course. Most of us were not taught how to coach quarterback decision making. So we created a program to help coaches install a simple, repeatable process that will immediately supercharge their quarterback's decision making and light up that scoreboard. So after completing this course, you will have created a clear, repeatable process that your quarterback will step through on every single play. We will have guided you through the ability to clearly identify and choose truly relevant pre-snap keys and cutting out anything that isn't necessary. We're going to guide you through locking your quarterbacks into a repeatable post-snap progression so they're making the right decision every single time. And all of these things will give you very concise talking points that you and your quarterback can address in the heat of the battle because we've streamlined the process to a few key points. And now with this proprietary new player book technology and help ensure everyone has the ability to master their quarterback room, because now you'll be able to go to practice and work this new process, then send this process home in your players' pockets with them where they can rep it out on their own time. So by the time you get to game day, your quarterbacks are working off muscle memory and lighting up that scoreboard. So before we get into it, just want to show you our 4 steps to creating engaging lesson plans for your players. Now we're going to dive deep and actually walk you through this process on the finale of this online course. But just so you have a basic understanding as we go through today, and I literally show you how it works with our passing offense, I want you to just make sure you have these components in the back of your mind. The first thing you'll see in these engaging lesson plans is the pre-snap key selection. And in the previous module, you stepped through a pre-snap key worksheet. So hopefully you can just plug in a few keys that you find valuable. The next step would be to set up your scenarios. And as a reminder, scenarios in player book is your offensive concept versus a defensive concept, really teaching the game the way that it's actually played, not just drawing up plays in a 2-dimensional format. In these engaging scenarios, your players will be able to visualize coverage drops, pre-snap alignment, test if-then scenarios, and even manipulate conflict defender movements so they are really put to the test off the field. The third step in your engaging lesson plan will be to set receiver scoring within these scenarios. So you get to decide based on your concept versus a specific coverage, which receiver is the correct choice. They'll get the max amount of points in a completed pass. You'll be able to select receivers that are just an okay choice. Maybe it's a check down of some sort. They get points in a completed pass, but not as many as the perfect correct choice. And then you'll be able to select completely incorrect receivers that they should have no business throwing to. In that case, the game will make sure the ball goes incomplete. And you could really test defensive player recognition and adjustments based on the way you set the scoring. And the last piece of engaging lesson plans, which might be the most important, is the multimedia video. Now you'll see in the engaging lesson plans that I'm going to show you in a second, the multimedia video actually is the first thing that pops up in the platform. We just like to list it last because it's completely optional. Some coaches want their players to just rep it out fast and don't want any videos happening before each virtual rep. Some coaches use this as a 10-second reminder, just getting the vital pieces of information to their quarterback, kind of mirroring being in the quarterback's headset on the field. And so they just put the key reminders in there real quick before every virtual rep. Sometimes coaches will put 2-minute install videos with diagrams and even film so they can send their training camp installs home with their players so they can absorb it outside of the pressures of practice, and even replay videos to really drive these points home. Some coaches use it to show their game film. Some coaches use it to show college and NFL players executing the same concepts. So whether you use multimedia videos or not, we wanted to give you the option to send powerful videos home with your players so they can really absorb it outside the pressure of practice or your quarterback room. So as we move forward and show you how the youth passing system integrates these amazing, engaging lesson plans, just be aware of these 4 components and how we use them so you can visualize how you might use them yourself. Okay, so introducing you to the youth passing system. Again, we're using our passing system to show you how you can integrate our 4-step process with a passing system of any kind. We'll just use ours as the example. You can use yours instead, or you can use ours because we have all of ours built out. Those multimedia videos I just talked about, those are already built out. Now you can use ours and customize it for yourself. But again, if you don't have time to do the work, I've done it for you. All the pre-snap values are already set in there. The receiver configurations on who's scoring what is already in there. So you could use yours or you could use ours. But the main point of today is to show you how that 4-step process is integrated so your players will have engaging lesson plans and really understand what's going on So when they get to the game, it's like second nature. Okay. So a couple things about our offense just to set the tone here. It is air raid based. So we have a lot of spread qualities with our team and our offense. Number one, we always want to have a small playbook. I am very strict about having 12 plays max, and that's all the plays all together. So you can see on your screen, we have 4 passing concepts, true passing concepts, and then 3 screens. So that's 7 right there. And I really only carry, honestly, 2 run plays, 3 on some seasons when we really have a great run scheme. But really, we see those screens as part of our run game. So if for whatever reason I try to go over 12 and I get antsy one year and I want to add something, I will remove an existing concept. So again, the whole point is to have a small playbook so we can master our plays and out execute anybody no matter what, even if they know exactly what's going on. We feel like we can out execute them. Number 2, formations. You see only a few formations here. That's the only thing that I will add to throughout the year. We ask everybody on our team, coaches, players, hey, come up with some fun formations as long as it works for our run plays and our pass plays, and we can hide them within each other and we can run it out of both. The more formations, the better, because we're just going to run our core plays, but just look multiple out of different formations. Okay. And then you can see at the bottom with our youth passing system, we have everything from the playbooks. We'll give you the playbooks that we show today, the practice plans, the install plans, the quarterback coaching plans for specific positions. So you can just hand your coaches a position itinerary, essentially, if they're new to that position, wristbands, call sheets, video cards, practice. We have a ton of stuff, right? So just to let you know, that's all comes with it. But today we're going to focus on how we'll integrate with our 4-step plan to create engaging lesson plans for your quarterback so they can make the right decisions and your team will score more points. And obviously, that will make sure you win more games. Lastly, on this passing system, it is always meant to be a plug and play passing system for any team, 8U, all the way through high school. This came about because I had been doing an air raid webinar series for the past 6 years that we've been giving away free. People kept asking me at different levels, what should I run? What should I run? And this is it, all boiled down. This is all you need, plug and play, a passing offense with any run scheme that you love. We all grew up knowing how to run the ball, but we didn't all grow up learning how to teach quarterback decision making. And that's what this is all about. Giving you a passing offense you can plug in, and it comes with very specific directions and directives for your quarterback, and we'll sync you guys up together so you guys can light up that scoreboard. All right, so before we get into the plays, you have to understand our process. As I've talked about in previous lessons, you have to have a process, and we would encourage you, even if it's 1 step, 2 steps, or 10 steps, to have a process that your quarterback steps through every single play, no matter what run, pass, or whatever the case may be. We need him to be locked into a certain process so he can block out all the additional noise, especially at the younger levels. Okay. So our quarterbacks come up to line of scrimmage. So as they ask that question, are there any pre-snap gifts backside? It's a simple look over to the backside of the play. If those defenders are 7 yards off or more, we're going to snap the ball and pick one of those players and get the ball out there as quickly as possible. If they are within 7 yards, there are no gifts backside, and we'll move on to the concept side. It's that simple. And so the second question that they move on to, if there are no pre-snap gifts, is your first read open by alignment? And that immediately puts his eyes on the defender in the grass area that we are trying to throw to on our first read. And it gets them locked into that process. So again, as an example, we are out here running fade out. And our first read, I've labeled it here, number 1, is this more restack go? Now, when he says, is my first read open by alignment, his eyes go to this cornerback because we are trying to throw into this deep third. And since this cornerback is already in the deep third, 8 yards or more back at the snap of the ball, he's going to tell himself, no, he's not open by alignment. So he's going to know that he's going to snap the ball and take a peek at this cornerback. If this cornerback stays deep or goes back at all, he's going to quickly move on to his second read, which is the speed out, because he already has an idea of what he's looking at out here. Now, if he were to look up and see a cornerback down really hard and close to him, the answer to that question, is my first read open by alignment, is yes. And as long as this receiver gets a clean release, we are going to throw this ball out here to him and make that throw. One other way we're going to look at this, another example, because it's one of our core plays, is Y corner. And in Y corner, instead of the far outside receiver running to the deep third for that first read, it is the Y tight end that is running a corner route that is running to that deep third, and he is our first read. But notice It's the same person that we are identifying pre-snap to tell us if our first read is open by alignment. It's still the deep third, and we are still trying to throw there. So if this cornerback pre-snap is deep, 7 yards or more, we are going to say, no, this first read is not open by alignment. But just as we did in the last play, we're going to look at the cornerback at the snap of the ball. If he stays there or bails, then we are quickly going to move on to our next read in the progression. If he slams down at the snap of the ball and comes closer to the line of scrimmage, we know we can throw that ball because now he just vacated that space. So again, it's just getting our quarterback think through the process and move through it. So again, quarterback comes up to the line of scrimmage. In this scenario, the cornerback is down low. So is our first read open by alignment? Absolutely. The deep third we're trying to throw to has open grass in it. We definitely need to be conscious of a safety that is this far over, but still with corner routes, we're throwing it to the sideline. So we are still happy with this pre-snap look. And so the first read is open by alignment. Before we get into the demo of how we bring together our playbooks with the 4-step plan, I do want to remind you as I show you this, that I just showed you Y corner is our first read open by alignment and fade out is our first read open by alignment. Stick is the same as fade out in terms of the outside receiver, the number 1 receiver is attacking that deep third. The only difference between the two are our number 2 and number 3 receivers are switching responsibility on which patch of grass that they are attacking. But I just want to show you that because basically these 3 plays, the quarterback goes through the same process, looking at the same progression, the same pieces of grass, and the same identifying keys, but the receivers are all getting there in different ways. So this is very confusing for a defense. So again, as we just discussed, our 4-step process, I'm going to show you how it all comes together now in a quick demo. You're going to see me have a video before. These are quick 10-second videos because I just want a quick reminder about the progressions and our first read. You can make longer ones or shorter ones, but in this demo, you're going to see a quick video of explanation. You're going to see the pre-snap keys that I hold valuable pop up on the screen after the video. You're going to see the quarterback make the selection, choose a throw, and then in the analytics that pop up right after the play, it will let them know if they chose the correct receiver, an okay receiver, or if the ball goes dead and hits the ground. Obviously, it was the incorrect receiver altogether. So there's analytics after every play, but then there's deeper analytics back in the back end that you can kind of look at from a big picture. Okay, so what you're going to see on the screen, this is the chance for the video to start, and you're going to step through all 4 pieces of this process. I'm going to let you listen to it and let it play. Late Y corner, we're going to look backside for any pre-snap gifts. Otherwise, we're going to run our progression. Corner, snag, shoot, identifying this cornerback to see if our first read is open by alignment. Okay, so he looks backside.
Is your first read open by alignment?
Then he goes through his pre-snap question. Now the ball is about to be snapped. He can see that the outside linebacker chose the flats. And so he decided to throw to the snag, which was running into that fade out. We're going to look backside to see if there's any quick game gifts. Otherwise, we're going to run our progression. Go out, stick, identifying this corner to see if our first read is open by. Okay, so he looks backside. Looks like there might be a gift there, right? But he still has to answer this question. Is it? He is not. It is not open by alignment because that cornerback is deep. He's got to snap the ball. Oh, look, he takes the gift. And that is the correct answer in terms of the analytics. It showed him that he chose the gift correctly. Looking backside for any quick. Now we're going to keep going, but I just want to stop here and just mention this game is not meant to be, not yet, like true reality football, right? Not even VR does that yet. We are working on that, but at this point, with as heavy as these VR sets are, and basically the graphics are essentially the same, all you're really doing with VR right now in terms of football training is wearing a computer console on your face. And that is not comfortable, and you can't do that for very long without having to take a break. And number 2, and probably more importantly, VR is expensive still, okay? It's very expensive. And not everyone has it. Almost every kid has a smartphone. And so we want to make sure that we can enable as many kids and as many coaches as possible by using the smartphone. We're doing that. Now we are in development with VR and AR, and we're going to do that. But we're not in a big hurry to do it because the world isn't really ready for that in mass adoption yet. But by the time, in a year and a half, by the time the world is ready for it, please believe we will have this program on AR and VR. And it's going to be kind of cool. You're going to be able to go to the field and play a whole game basically on your own if you want, or bring receivers and the defense will be on the field with you. It's actually pretty cool. But anyway, I regress. Right now, it's all about mobile. And this is meant to get your kids keying in on certain things, right? Where is the player standing before the play? That's getting locked into his mind. After the play, does the cornerback bail? Does he stay still? Does he come forward? Those things, right? These are the points. Does the linebacker fly to the flats, or does he stay in the hook to curl? Like, these are the points that this game is putting your quarterback's mind onto and locking into these points. So that, again, when it gets to the real game, it's like second nature. Okay. All right. And so on the last note on these plays that I just showed you and then demoed, again, you don't have to use our plays in particular. Now, this system that we've built around reading these 3 pieces of grass as the core of our offense is very intentional because it's very repeatable. So again, you don't have to use exactly our plays. We've actually seen, if you look on the screen, these are examples of what other coaches that run our system didn't really want to run those concepts. So they just took the 3 grass template and they're throwing receivers into these different pieces of grass in different route combinations. And you can see it can come from anywhere. There's a sniffer out. There's a wing back coming out into the flat. You can do it at 3-by-1. You can do it at a 2-back in the backfield. You can do it. You can do it under center in I formation. As long as you give me 3 pieces of grass, we're going to make this work for you guys, and we'll help you every step of the way. Now, you might be saying, okay, that's really nice. You have 3 quick game plays to run your offense. Is that enough? Okay. So number 1, absolutely. I think JV, high school, and below, those quick game plays are enough, but I cannot move forward without showing you our 4 verts concept. It's a staple of air raid. It's a staple of every offense at this point. But again, it's based on a conflict defender. So while it's not exactly the same as our 3 grass reads, it is very similar in the extent that the process still works. So the quarterback still comes up the line of scrimmage and is looking for gifts, but in 4 verts, the gifts are on the outside. Okay, so there's literally the same rule, but they're on the outside. And then once we snap the ball, if there's no gifts, our first read is this H, is our H running the more go down this seam. The second read is the opposite go. And then the third read is the over the ball. But we are putting another person in conflict, and instead of the conflict receiver being an overhang defender, the conflict defender is this free safety. And it's just as simple as that. If the safety drops back straight or to his left, we're trying to throw this first read, and we're going to go just do just that. Now, there's nuances to this. You can't just put a big floating ball in the air. We'll talk about it more in depth in the youth passing system videos, but this is just another demo to show you that we do have more plays in the system, but as always, they are all about finding the conflict defender and making him wrong. There's not a new process. It's the same exact process. So if you're going out on your own, just make sure all your plays relate to each other, okay? And then I'm going to show you a quick example of our screen game. We pair our screens with GT counter. You can do it with any run game that you hold dear. This is our best run play, so we use our best run play because I'm not mad if we run our GT counter. It's probably my favorite play anyway. But essentially, we'll come up to line of scrimmage and we'll have 2 plays in one, and it's what we call a pre-snap RPO, not an in-play RPO like what most people think of RPO. So essentially, the quarterback comes up to line of scrimmage. He will count the defenders out here on the edge where we're trying to run this. This is Larry to the left. So if it's 2 receivers on 1 defender, and we don't count safeties more than 10 yards. So this is 2 receivers on 1. The quarterback's going to snap the ball and fire it out to this number 1 receiver on this pedal screen or bubble screen, whatever you decide to run, and we go get after it. If, as you see, that overhang defender pops out and it's 2 on 2, then the quarterback is simply going to look at the running back and tell him you, and he's going to run the ball. The linemen are just either way, they're running GT counter, and the quarterback is deciding who's getting the ball. And that is how we run our bubble screen. And then one of the reasons why I wanted to show you those 2 plays, while we have more screens and more things to do, I want to show you a demo again of how we use our 4-step process to create engaging lesson plans for your quarterback to make sure they understand what's going on. So you'll see in this upcoming video, a quick multimedia video of me explaining verts right before the snap. Just imagine kind of being the coach in your quarterback's headset, right? And you're talking to him before the snap. All you have is about 10 seconds to get your reminders out to them, and then that box shuts off. So that's what we're replicating, right? Quick video, then they'll go through their pre-snap, they'll make their decisions, and then you'll get results right away. Open 4 verts, we're gonna look outside for any pre-snap gifts. Otherwise, we're running our progression, H to Y to T, identifying this safety to determine who gets the ball. Okay, so we're looking for any gifts outside.
Is
there
your
actually
first
looks
read
like
open by alignment?
there is. Now is our first read open by alignment. Absolutely, that safety is in the middle of the field. But we're going to go ahead and go to that H because that safety, as you can see, let's rewind that. Hopefully you can see at the snap of the ball, that safety makes his choice. Watch the ball. This is what we want our quarterbacks to be keen on. What does the safety do? Okay, he goes to his left, so I'm going to snap that ball out there to my first read, and I'm going. I'm off to the races. Now, this next example is Larry. And so you're going to see in our game, in real time, as they move through these plays, he's going to get a chance to practice counting the outside numbers. Do we have numbers or don't we? Do we run the ball or do we throw the ball? Again, game is not meant to be a replication of real life, just to get their minds on the right keys. So when they see it in the game, it's not the first time they've thought about it.
It's a simple numbers game. We have two receivers against one defender. We're throwing the screen. We have two receivers to two defenders. We're giving to the running back.
Don't count safeties 10 yards or deeper.
Simply click the running back as you see him appear on the screen to get proper score.
All right, we look out there.
First read open by alignment.
It's 3-on-2, so yes, our first read is open. We have the numbers. You'll notice the lineman actually running GT counter here. But since we have the numbers out here, we're going to go ahead and throw it. Okay, he's going to get his yards, and he made the right decision. It's as simple as that. So hopefully you're seeing how we take our concepts, put them into a process, create engaging content, and send that home with your players. So again, they are learning outside the pressure of practice and you being intense and the coaches looking at them and the players that they think the players are judging them if they don't learn it fast. This is the best way for a kid to really, if you really want them to really understand the why and all the winning nuance, this is how we do it. As our eternal coach once said,
the most important thing we do is practice. The most important thing I think anybody does is practice, and all those skills that, emphasis, attitude, and all those things. That's where it's all reinforced is during practice. Figure out how to be more precise in how we teach the stuff. So we spend more time really thinking about practice and organizing practice than we do scheme, because what we select and what we choose to do, we try to rep it as often as we can and be as sharp and specific at it as we possibly can. And what I'm most curious about, what other people do really, is how they practice. How do you organize your week? Everybody gets so many hours in the week, and there's a fine line between what's too much and what's too little, where you're going to get the most out of people, where the breaking point is.
Absolutely, Coach. Could not have said it better myself. So again, hopefully you have seen and understand why we created this system. Not only the youth passing system for coaches that have been asking for, give me a plug and play offensive passing system that I can run with any run plays that I have. Okay, done. Here it is. We love doing that. We've been working with you guys for over 6 years in our communities, putting together this plan. Okay. So number 2, this 4-step process is something that we've done this whole time. That with this technology, we could really impact not only the players, but help coaches do something that they were never taught how to do. None of us were taught how to coach quarterbacks. None of us were taught how to coach quarterback decision making. So this is a simple, easy 4-step plan to make sure you can, and more importantly, make your team happy, quarterbacks happy, parents happy, right? That's a big deal. And maybe the most importantly, give you peace of mind. So when you head into a game, you really can be confident about the quarterback really understanding what's going on, what his keys are, and that you guys will be on the same page throughout the game, because it is such a luxury to be able to, in the heat of the moment, you really only have a few things to talk about, right? Or the same reads, the same keys. So you can get to those things much quicker in a conversation in the heat of battle, because you have this process laid out with very specific keys, with very specific reads and progressions. And so you can make adjustments on the fly accordingly. All right. Thanks again for joining me. This was a fun one. I hope it all makes sense now, how we bring it all together. In the next video in the online course, we are going to get into full field progression reads. That's the next level as a quarterback decision maker or trainer. Now that you know how to do man, apex, conflict defender reads, we're going to add in full field progression reads. Then we're going to get into the air raid, so we can add those plays that have those into your playbook if you want to add higher level stuff, if you're high school, varsity, and above. And then we'll wrap it all up with a bow and really show you how to step through this plan with your specific offense or ours. And this will get you ready to attack the off season and come into next season ready to go. All right. Thanks a lot, coaches. We'll see you on the next one.